Hello again, wine friends. Welcome to another installment of Doc G's Wine and Spirits Review. I'm going to tell you something right now. It is a little bit toasty out here today. So in honor of that, I'm going to share with you a nice, refreshing cocktail that'll go fantastically for the 4th of July. It's so hot out here right now, I need a little sip of it, and you can try to guess what it is I have in my glass. Well, if you guessed Gin Gin Mule, I'll make you one sometime when I see you, because that is what we're going to talk about today. One of my favorite summer cocktails, and I thought it would be appropriate to get you set up with something you might want to try when you get together with family and friends over this 4th of July weekend. So let's try to set up what we're going to talk about. First of all, I'd like to talk about this very interesting mug. I'd like to talk about that refreshing liquid that's in here. I'd like to talk a little bit about the history. There's actually a little history behind this. Talk about the ingredients, and then I'm going to actually make one in this other glass that I provided for you so that I can drink and mix at the same time. So let's start off a little bit with the mug. As you can see, this is a copper mug. You can get them pretty much anywhere. This is one of those OG mugs, but you can just buy a copper mug. It's best served in a copper mug because if you can see close up, the heat and the ice in here already, it's already sweating. And what copper does is it keeps the drink cold. So every time you bring it to your lips, it is very cold. It's cold right now. I like to put it on my neck. It's so warm. So a little bit of just a short history. I'll post something on the site so you can actually read a little bit more. But long story short, a Russian family tried to market these in Russia many years ago, and it didn't really make it. So they came to the United States, land of opportunity, and they searched high and low, and finally they hooked up with a bar in Hollywood, and they actually also stumbled across the original owner of Smirnoff Vodka. And the two of them met, long story short, in 1941 in Hollywood, and they established the drink. After they ran through some experiments on what would be a good drink, they established what was known as the Moscow Mule. I'll talk about that today. This is not a Moscow Mule. I like them, but I like gin better, so I make a Gin Gin Mule. So the way they became popular is that because it was in Hollywood, celebrities started to use it. And in the 1940s, they started drinking cocktails from it, which was the era of cocktails. And finally, it caught on, and it has caught on and stayed popular ever since. So let's talk then about the drink itself. I call this the Gin Gin Mule, and it's really what you would call a mashup of the mojito, which features mint tea and the lime and a little bit of sweetness, and the the mojito features the sweetness and the mint, and the mule generally features the gin and ginger beer. I'll talk about all the ingredients in a minute. So when you put them both together, you come out with a new drink called the Gin Gin Mule. And it's really warm out here today. Excuse me while I hydrate. I need that bad. So the history of this drink specifically, the Gin Gin Mule, this purportedly, and again I'll post some more reading material for you, was invented in the year 2000 by a bartender named Audrey Saunders at the Pegu Club in New York City, with which I'm not really familiar, so if you've ever been there and know about it, this is where that drink was invented. So let's talk about the ingredients that actually go into a Gin Gin Mule. First of all, you need fresh mint. I happen to have some here because I have some mint in my yard. You need some lime juice. This real lime juice will do just fine, or any other store-bought brand that you want to use. A little bit of simple syrup, which I made my own. And just a little side note on simple syrup, I use stevia simple syrup, and it's the same formula. It's no calories. And you take 1 cup of the ingredient, stevia or sugar, and a cup of water, boil them, let it cool down, and put it in a jar. You can also go to your favorite market and buy yourself your own simple syrup and keep it around. I would just say one caution: it doesn't keep for very long, so when you get it, don't buy too much unless you really like to have drinks like this. Obviously, you need some gin. Today, we're going to feature this High Clear Castle gin. It's I would say whatever gin you use, and I'm just featuring this one because I'm going to talk about it a little bit. Use a good gin, because you put a bad gin, you're going to have a bad drink. Don't use bottom shelf. At least use medium top shelf if you want to. And of course, then you need ginger beer. And this is a beer that is called Krabby's. It's from Scotland, and as I go to each ingredient and demonstrate how to make one of these for you, I will talk about these ingredients a little bit more. And I do want to put a recommendation out for a vodka in case you want to do a vodka and just do a regular Moscow Mule. So before I start this, let me hydrate again, and we'll begin. So take yourself a copper mug. You only need a couple mint leaves. Pluck them off. Very aromatic. Put them in the bottom of the glass. Take yourself a regular muddler. Muddle them in around a little bit to release the essence of the mint. Smells like spearmint gum in there. Take yourself, you take a half an ounce of lime juice, or to your taste if you want to use more. You pour that in. Pre-prepared half an ounce of simple syrup. And then, of course, you have to have your gin. I recommend 2 ounces. If you want to go a little bit more, that's to your taste. You pour that in. And let me talk a little bit about this before we move on. This is just basically a gin which has juniper, lime, flower, orange peel. It's just a very clean gin, and I would recommend a clean gin. High Clear Castle gin, I'll post for you. It's available at PA Wine and Spirits and most other wine and spirit stores. And then the next step now that you've had all of those ingredients in there, mix them around just a little bit, get them all together. And then you take some ice, which I, on this hot day, have set aside here in a cooler. And I'm actually going to put all this ice in here because it is a warm day. So, pardon me while I reach down here and fill this up for you. That should hold it. The copper's now soaking up the cold. And then you take your bottle of Krabby's ginger beer. This is a beer made in Edinburgh, Scotland, steeped 6 weeks in ginger root. Fantastic. You can also, for this drink, add yourself. You really like ginger, you can scrape off some fresh ginger and put it in there. It really gets very snappy and crisp then. You stir it around. Notice the mug. I don't know if you can tell right here. Due to the heat here today, I'm melting into the ground. Due to the heat here today, this thing is already a frosty mug. Take your little piece of mint, stick it in the glass, and cheers. Let's see. Speechless again. This is such a refreshing summer cocktail. It will go great. I always say this, it goes great for me any time of the year. But in these sunny days that are ahead and the 4th of July weekend, what a great way to kick off your holiday. So before I go, I want to talk a little bit about, there's also a drink called the Gin Mule. And the Gin Mule takes away the mojito aspect. A Gin Mule is basically a Moscow Mule with the mint removed. So what you do for a Gin Mule is you take 2 ounces of gin like we just did. You take the simple syrup and you take the lime juice. Put it in a highball glass. And you can do that with this too. You do not need a copper mug. But you put it in a highball glass, stir it around, and you got yourself, and the ginger beer. I'm sorry, you have to have the ginger beer as well for both of these. So you stir it around and you have your drink and you're off and running. So the same for the Moscow Mule. Your Moscow Mule is just your 2 ounces of vodka, your simple syrup, and your mint, excuse me, not the mint for the gin mule, and your lime juice, stir it around, and you have yourself a drink. I'll post recipes for both of them, so if you're interested in following these, or if you've already had them, you go out to your favorite bar, wherever you might want to get them. They are a fantastic drink in the sun, in the shade, inside, outside, anywhere you want to enjoy a very refreshing cocktail. So with that said, just want to say I'm glad that all of you are still hanging around with me here along the ride here with the different wines and spirits and drinks that we are having. And I do want to wish you a safe and happy 4th of July, that you get time to spend, that you have the opportunity to spend time with your friends and family. And I just want to say God bless America, God bless all of you, and may you have a safe and happy 4th of July. Cheers, and stay hydrated.